your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
I didn't know this was a thing, but it is, apparently. There's a top 25 for everything, Jamie. And
okay.
Now have a top 25 of college basketball transfer portal team rankings. Okay.
Okay.
Texas.
That makes sense.
So
that's like rating a recruiting class,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So is this just the recruits, or how the teams improve their team?
That's a great question. I think it's the how you improve your team through the portal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We can just call this the actual top 25 then.
Well, you might.
Some teams have some guys left over. I mean, we have a few of them.
Right.
Okay.
So they've Texas Tech in this poll is now at number 18. Okay. They cite the recent addition this week of the former New Mexico standout, J.T. Toppin. He was the co-freshman of the year from the Mountain West. Put his name in the hat for a while for the NBA, and now has decided to return to college, and he joined the Red Raiders and is officially signed. Okay, and he'll join an incoming transfer class that includes former Minnesota point guard Elijah Hawkins and former Drake shooting guard Kevin Overton. In addition to, I think he's going to be a fan favorite, Federico. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, plus the guys that you have coming back, including Marcus Cambridge. No, not Marcus. Devin Cambridge. Yeah, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Marcus Cambridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Devin Cambridge. But I mean, and I don't think you're
that's the guy that you go to that we have coming back.
Well, I mean, you've got others as well.
Yeah.
You know, Kerwin Walton's coming back. You know, Darion Williams is coming back.
I think that's the guy I would lead with.
Yeah, that's the guy I would lead. But I mean, Cambridge was you know, you think he's going to be huge, but he may not be back until the start of conference play, or at least he may play some, but be like, you know, fully available. You know, and you're going to have 20 conference games, so obviously that'll be.
I just think Darion Williams, when you're talking about who you expect to be the leader of the team next year.
That's fair.
That's kind of the guy I look to as far as a guy that returns.
Yeah, no doubt.
I would love to see those rankings. I would love to, and then I would also be disgusted by. Love to see those rankings listing money spent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you think we're the 18th highest money spent?
No. Do I think we're the highest team money spent?
I said 18th.
Do I think we're the 18th?
I would lean. Where was Washington in there with their $2 million guy?
Let's see if they're in the. I was looking for the other Big 12 teams. I didn't see Washington.
Really?
Listed. Well, they're number 8.
8. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, they got a $2 million a year guy.
Yeah.
You would think they would be pretty high up.
Right. No.
I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah, and the Toppin deal reportedly 1.2.
Yeah. So do you think the Red Raiders would be in the top 20 of money spent?
I would think so.
My guess would be yes.
I mean, based on, I've not. There's no official number that's been released. Just the number that I heard the other day was football was at 4.5 and basketball was at $4 million in terms of the budget.
Budget of
how much you're paying your players to come in, your guys that you're compensating, or your budget for paying for your players.
Whose budget?
I guess it'd be the Matador Club, or things along those lines, because the school can't directly pay anybody right now. But,
right now,
and that's just
give it a week.
That's just the on the street number. Okay, that's just the on the street numbers.
Those are believable numbers.
4.5. The thing that surprised me, Jamie, about that is
so that's 4.5 divided between 100 guys, 80 guys,
85.
Yeah.
Or is it?
And it's
3.5 for 5, and the rest. The other guys are getting their $25,000. I mean,
I would assume that the majority of the guys are only getting $25,000.
Yes,
right? There's
yes,
probably 10, 12 guys or whatever that are getting extra stuff or whatever. So, and then it's 14 guys between $4 million.
Well, I think they still have 2 scholarships left. So right now it's between 11 and 12 that would be in that. And depending on what
but
they
you
have,
said that they've budgeted $4 million.
well, I don't know, but I don't know if that's quote unquote budget or if it's just earmarked. How about we use the word earmarked? Okay, and maybe it is a budget. Maybe it is a budget, and maybe and who knows, because they had money out there for Jalen Wells. If he was going to come, the kid from Washington State who elected to stay in the NBA draft, as far as I know, unless something changed right before midnight, but his people had talked to Cougs.com or whatever their people are, that he was going to stay in the NBA draft and go through that process, even though considered to be late first rounder, second rounder. So obviously he did the math and said, I can make more by being in the NBA draft, either first rounder or second rounder, than I can playing one more year of college basketball and going to a Texas Tech or someplace like that and getting $1 million, and then you're risking injury, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotta be careful. You only have 2.8 left after Mr. Toppin.
That's supposedly, right? I mean, who knows? That number could grow, especially, if like sometimes you go to the store and you're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and I'm
just going to get milk and bread. And next thing you know, you got Lucky Charms and Apple Jacks too.
And you decided, I think grilling some steaks would be good. And instead of going to the one section, go to the butcher shop section. And the next thing you know, you've got you're paying $300 at the grocery store. And you're like, how did that happen? Well, it just happened. You go to
I didn't mean to buy a new TV today. It just kind of happened.
It just kind of happened.
It was on
grocery
sale.
store?
Yeah.
At the grocery store?
A TV? I don't know. I don't think. Yeah. So anyway, that's.
Yeah, I just wonder what the numbers look like financially compared to those.
That's fair. And
all those top 25 teams.
Well, considering that Arkansas is number 1, okay. And we know they've spent a ton of money. And Indiana's number 2. That surprised me. And St. John's was number 3, another former Kentucky coach, right? Number 4 was Kentucky, okay? And then number 5 was West Virginia. A little bit of a surprise there with their new coach.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Sports history. Today is the 31st day of May, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Going to start in 1914. Chicago White Sox pitcher Joe Benz no-hits the Cleveland Indians 6-1. So maybe they'll win another game this year. 1948.
How many are they at now, Jeff?
Last I checked, they were at 15, but that was earlier this week, so I imagine they're still at 15 because they are not a good baseball team. That's just the way they're still at 15 and 42.
Goodness gracious.
Hey, man, nobody stinks like the White Sox. 1948, Canadian-American League, and I'm only bringing this up because of the fun names that gets to be said here that I'm going to completely botch. The Schenectady Blue Jays pitcher, Tommy Lasorda, Schenectady.
I think it's Schenectady.
Schenectady, yes, that's correct.
Blue Jays pitcher Tommy Lasorda strikes out 25 Amsterdam rug makers in 15 innings and knocks in the winning run.
I had no idea that Lasorda was a pitcher.
Yeah.
I would have totally had him pegged as a catcher.
He was a pitcher before the pot belly.
Is that a fat guy joke?
What's that?
Is that a fat guy joke?
No, but I mean, he looked like
his stature. Yeah.
Yeah, usually pitchers aren't super short either. Usually.
Yeah, you want a tall, lanky guy. Gets more leverage on the ball.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, he just does. Even before he had too much pasta.
Mm-hmm. No such thing.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Jeff. Yeah, he wouldn't have looked like a pitcher to me.
Before he got on Weight Watchers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
1967 Indianapolis 500. A.J. Foyt weaves his way through a pileup on the final lap to win his third Indy 500 victory. It's the first Indy 500 win on Goodyear tires since 1919. 1983, in the 37th NBA championship, the Philadelphia 76ers sweep the Los Angeles Lakers in 4 games. In 2002, junior John Slack hits a game-winning double in the bottom of the 9th inning to give number 19 Texas Tech a 5-4 win over the Washington Huskies on Friday night in the first round action in the NCAA Regionals being held at Reckland Park in Houston.
What year, Jeff?
2002.
2002. Okay.
2014, freshman left-handed pitcher Dylan Dushek leads the number 23 Texas Tech Red Raiders to a 3-0 shutout win over number 3 Miami. Tech grabbed a 2-0 lead in the second inning on junior shortstop Tim Proudfoot's RBI single to left field with a wild pitch that plated senior center fielder Devin Conley. And in 2019, the number 8 Texas Tech baseball team opened the NCAA Lubbock Regional with a decisive 11-2 win over Army. Red Raiders jumped out early with a 3-0 lead in the first and added crooked numbers in the 2nd, 5th, and 7th to down the Black Knights in just their second all-time meeting. It marks the 4th straight year that Texas Tech has won its regional opener.
It was just so impressive seeing those Army players, and they're knowing what they were going to do after they, finished their career at Army and just how they carried themselves. It was impressive.
Except it made it hard to root against them.
Yeah,
made it very hard.
Made it awkward. I didn't love playing against them because of that. Because you have so much respect for them, but at the same time you're wanting to beat up on them. Yeah.
Happy National Macaroon Day.
Not a fan.
I mean, it's just a cookie that's made with nuts.
Macaroon?
Like as the base.
Jamie, macaroon? You're in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, okay.
Happy birthday, Brooke Shields turns 59. Clint Eastwood, 94. Colin Farrell, 48. Leah Thompson, 63. Joe Namath, 81. Jake Peavy, 43. And Kenny Lofton is 57.
Kenny Lofton.
Joe Namath, struggling.
Well,
I haven't heard Kenny Lofton's name in forever.
Forever, yeah.
And on this day in 1859, Big Ben in London rings its bells for the very first time. And we actually have audio for what it sounds like.
All right, that means it's time for your lucky local winning word this morning here from Double T 97.3 and the Home Zone, making your house a home. It's a local contest. We're giving away cash every Tuesday and Thursday. We gave away some yesterday to Yvette Perez. I think I said Yvette. I was criticized for that yesterday. I do know a Yvette, but it's Yvette Perez. She won $500 from us and the Home Zone. It's making your house a home. Today's lucky local winning word. You go to doublet973.com. They're not playing right now. They would have liked to have been in the Mavericks position, but the Rockets is your lucky local winning word at 6:45 today. Go to doublet973.com and enter that in. And you, too, could win some money from us. And the Home Zone will give away more money on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. And then, of course, on June the 20th, we'll give away $2,500 at Two Ducks. Okay. Just a note on Tommy Lasorda as a pitcher. He would eventually be drafted by the Brooklyn Dodgers from the Philadelphia Phillies organization. And he made his major league debut on August the 5th. It was only 1 inning for him. He tied a major league record at the time, 3 wild pitches in 1 inning. Okay. Then got spiked by Wally Moon of the St. Louis Cardinals when Moon scored on the 3rd wild pitch. He would make 3 more appearances for the Dodgers and then be optioned back to Montreal on June the 8th. You want to take a wild guess who replaced him on the major league roster for the Dodgers?
I do not.
Okay. Sandy Koufax.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
He of University of Cincinnati fame.
Right. And then he would be traded to the Kansas City Athletics. He would get traded to the Yankees organization. And then it was there with the Yankees that he got hooked up with Ralph Houck, who was the manager of the Denver Bears, a AAA team at the time, and he became his role model for being a major league manager. He said, Ralph taught me that if you treat players like human beings, they will play like Superman. He taught me how a pat on the shoulder can be just as important as a kick in the butt. That's good managerial advice for anybody.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. So, if we start treating each other like human beings, we'll all turn into Supermen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's probably
All right.
I think that's probably good. I think that's probably good advice. We treat each other like human beings, then we will act like Superman. And a pat on the shoulder can be just as important as a kick in the butt.
I definitely agree with the last part.
Yeah.
I think the first part, though, there's no guarantees there.
No, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees.
I feel like in my lifetime, lots of people have treated me like a human being, and I haven't turned into a Superman.
Superman.
I feel like plenty of people have given me plenty of respect, and I'm still pretty mediocre.
We have
no superhero going on here.
Right. We have a request for the lucky winning word for each day of the NBA Finals. Somebody wants it to be Mavericks.
I'm not feeling good about their chances, to be honest with you. I love that they're in it. I've become interested, so that's cool. But,
the Celtics, you think, are just too good?
I do.
Yeah. But Luka and Kyrie, the two of them playing together, they've kind of been playing like Superman.
Something like that.
Luka especially. I miss the big Superman movies. I mean, the real ones, not the animated ones or the real ones, like where Superman's going through the sky and things like that. And
well,
Lois
tell
Lane.
Warner Brothers to quit messing them up so we can make more.
Yeah.
And make up their mind on who they want to be Superman. That would also help.
You know, and God rest his soul, Christopher Reeve was Superman. He really was. He was a really good Superman back in the day in the movies.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. I want to get to football, but since we really haven't had a chance to visit with you since the end of the baseball season, just your postmortem on Tech's baseball season and kind of now as you've had a chance to kind of reflect on it a little bit, the good, the bad, the ugly, the kind of where do we go from here aspect of it.
I don't know that I would say that I feel any different than anybody else. I mean, just really disappointment. Didn't see, didn't expect it at all. Thought you had a pretty good team heading into the year. Injuries, the same kind of thing that I've been saying. Injuries really were a huge problem with your pitching staff. That changed things dramatically. But, you still, at times offensively just weren't the team that we've become accustomed to and didn't hit in those clutch situations. And, I feel like even going back to the Big 12 tournament, we saw some of those things just kind of pop up at time, and then again, the games that you lost there. I was excited. No, excited's not the right word, but I was happy to see the team play well in Arlington. And if you thought that there was questions of did they have any fight, did they care, were they just trying to play out the season, were they just trying to get it over, I think those questions were answered. I think teams showed up to play and all that good stuff. But Oklahoma State was just, top to bottom, just so much better than you were.
Man, Trendon Parrish put on a heck of an effort for you last Saturday. Did that surprise you?
Not Saturday. Couldn't have been Saturday, could it? No, we didn't play on Saturday.
Was it Friday night?
Friday afternoon, evening, yeah.
Yeah, okay, because it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. Yeah, it was Friday, last Friday.
Yeah. It surprised me. It surprised me how deep he went. Yeah, but that was great to see. Excited to see him come back and just, hope and cross your fingers and all that he can stay healthy for a season, because, man, he was having a good year. And just the thought of having him, even, each one of those guys, pick any of those guys, and hey, if we'd have had him the whole year, then that would have helped things dramatically, and Trendon would have been one of those guys. There's no doubt about it. So it was great to see him throw that well.
Because you could make a case last Friday in that Oklahoma State game, pitched well enough to win, just couldn't get the bats to go.
I don't think anybody would make a case against that.
Yeah.
He was terrific. Yeah. I just, again, I don't think I have any thoughts that are any different than anybody else. And I mean, if you're wanting to look big picture, you can talk about the fact that, you played a lot of young guys in key spots, and the rest of the conference and the rest of the baseball world really isn't doing that as much. And it feels like you've been a program that hasn't used the portal a bunch, understandably so. I've been a fan of not, use it some, but not build your team around it. And like to see guys come here and play for 3 years and head off to the draft, and we grow old with them. But it feels like those days are gone, and you have to do something different.
Yeah,
it feels like, as much as that's not the style that I want to see. It feels like that's the style that you have to do. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens this year. I mean, I don't know. You still have a lot coming back offensively. I mean, clearly you need a lot pitching wise. You need guys to get healthy. You need guys to come back and be better. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time, because I've always felt each and every year going into the season, knowing that you have Coach Tadlock and knowing how good he and Coach Thomas and everybody else have recruited, that it's like, okay, we're going to be great again. We're going to be really good again. And there's nothing in my mind that says that can't happen again. But it does. There are questions, right? That says, I don't know what it's going to be like, because if everybody else in college baseball, or not everybody else, but the teams that are playing really well
that you're competing against,
are doing it one way, and that involves NIL money and all the above, and using the transfer portal and all the above, that if you don't use it the same way, then you're playing at a disadvantage. And so that's a question for the staff. That's a question for our athletic department, and those that are the high money rollers that
powers that be.
That want to help our athletic programs and all that. I mean, those are questions that have to be asked. Like, do you want to compete in baseball at a high level? If you do, things have to change.
Yeah, you have to change. Yeah.
You have to change. It's different now than it was 5, 6, 8, 4, 3 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah. If you want to compete at a high level of baseball, things have to change.
Yeah.
Both within the program and within the athletic department and the support that comes with it.
Yeah, the structure. Yeah.
Yeah. It has to change, or the days of Texas Tech competing at a high level of baseball are gone. Period. We have to, as a Texas Tech community, athletic department, fan base, donors, all the above, have to commit to baseball like we've committed to other sports, or the days of competing at a high level are over.
And I think the rank and file of the baseball fans, maybe not necessarily those that have the means to do what you're talking about, but have the passion and care for the program, I think they would say, yeah, we need to do that by hook or by crook. We've got to figure out a way to do that, because we have enjoyed a lot of success here, and we've enjoyed that program. We've enjoyed the winning. We've enjoyed the success that the team has had, going to Omaha, et cetera, and trying to get to the final series has been a goal for this fan base. And it's just it's going to be interesting to see how this new world affects everything that we're entering into. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I think you're exactly right. Ed, do you see anybody else in the portal that
I would expect so, and I mean partly because guys didn't perform. And you're going to bring other guys in. I mean, there's movement every year, even before the portal in baseball, right? It seemed like it was always that way. Yeah. So you'll see some of that, sure. As far as guys that you relied on and you think were really good players, that kind of thing, right? Man. Chuck, that's a really hard one for me to gauge. I mean, we were probably sitting here at this time last year, and I would have never thought you were going to lose Mason Molina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, and how much would he have helped to be on your team? But you know, I mean, Kevin Bizzell he's a sophomore this year, but he redshirted. Okay, he's a redshirt sophomore, so he's eligible for the draft. He's probably your highest draft prospect. I do not expect to see him back, but he would still have leverage. Okay, and so maybe he could. I mean, maybe if there were, you know, an NIL deal that made it worth for him to stick around for another year, Kevin Bizzell seems like a guy that you'd love to have around for another year. Gavin Cash is an interesting guy. Gavin at times this year lost his starting first base position, but reclaimed at the end of the year. Still had a really good year, 15 homers, 50 RBI. That's a really good year. It's not 26 and 84 like he had the year before. You'd love to have him back. I mean, he'd be eligible for the draft too, but I'm sure there's other other schools out there that would love to throw some money his way to bring him in. So you're probably going to have to fight for some of these guys to keep him on the roster.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3, presented today by someone not named Jamie, is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, guys, we've kind of had a theme going for the latter half of this week with regards to the Texas Tech football schedule. We've talked about what we think the longest win streak is going to be. We've talked about if we think Texas Tech is going to lose back-to-back games again for the third straight year and what those two games could be. We now have some kickoff times for the first three games, which are all non-conference. One of them is a night game at home. One of them is a night game on the road. One of them is an early kickoff at home to wrap up the non-conference slate. What I want you guys to do is look at the Big 12 portion of the schedule. I want you to pick one road game and one home game and pick the best kickoff time for said game, with the caveat that it just can't be a home game, so it needs to be 6, and it can't be a road game, so it has to be 11. Why? It can't just be that reason if you're going that direction. So one road Big 12 game and one home Big 12 game that you pick the optimal kickoff time.
Well, I'm a big fan of the night game, okay? So you could tell me any of the home games, give me a 7 o'clock kickoff. The
not even 6. You're going 7.
I'm going 7. Yeah, I'm going 7.
But what game would a 7 o'clock kickoff benefit you most?
6 or 7 that would benefit you the most. See, I feel like the Cincinnati game's a winnable game, no matter if you could play it at 7 in the morning. Same thing with Baylor. Essentially, same thing with Colorado. It'll be Chilly Willy, but give me a 7 o'clock night game to close out the season, the regular season against West Virginia.
Record that. Save that.
It's going to be Chilly Willy?
No, not the Chilly Willy part. But when it comes and it's freezing, and and
we have a post-game show after the game,
and we're talking about. I understand, man. I have the lucky lady and we had to get to warmer. It was cold out
we
there.
We never leave when it's cold.
Yeah, we
never leave when it's cold, and we've never left when it's cold.
That sounds. I mean, I love football, and I really, really appreciate Red Raider fans who sit through the bad weather of football games, because we need some diehards like that.
Yeah, we're there. We're there for you.
Okay, whether it's warm or cold or rainy or snowy or whatever.
I mean, the hotter weather affects the lucky lady.
Why you would choose that in cold weather times to be in the dark, have a game in the dark, it just blows my mind.
Okay.
Selfish. We'll talk about afterwards. We understand the attendance was down. It was Thanksgiving weekend. It
snowed.
It was cold, and it was a night game. I get it.
Okay,
I guess I'm just saying your answer doesn't
add up.
I have, yeah, that's a good way.
That doesn't add up. Yeah. All right, let me give you another. Then here's another one that won't add up. I want a night game as well. I would take.
Were we giving one answer?
I would no. You wanted a road game.
One road.
I'll tell you what. I would take this. Give me a 2:00 kick at TCU, October the 26th. Because I think that would be just perfect where you could drive in and drive out. You could drive to the game and drive home from the game.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
I like that answer, Chuck. Well done.
2:00 for the TCU game on October the 26th and a night game for West Virginia.
Jamie Lent.
Okay, can I change one that's already been announced? Is that allowed?
No. We are stuck with what has been announced because we will be stuck with whatever gets announced later.
Okay, because I wanted 11 a.m. for Abilene Christian. Okay, because about halftime, we're all going to be wanting that thing to be over with. Okay? And so would I rather it be at 12:30 that I'm wanting it to be over with, or would I rather be at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock that I'm wanting it to be over with? Okay? We're all going to be wanting it to be over with. Okay, yep, we saw our Red Raiders. They look great. South End Zone is awesome. We love that. Like the uniforms, we looked good. We wore red, we wore white, we wore black, we wore gray. We were fans of all of it. Okay, we looked great. We're pounding this team.
The horse ran.
How can we get this over with? Because halftime, most people are going to be in the parking lot anyways. This one, right?
I'm curious where the horse is going to enter through.
So I would like that to be early.
Well, we can't. It's not a Big 12 game either.
So I can't change that. You're telling me. Okay. Definitely by far, the one on the road that I want is Iowa State to be at 11 a.m.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. I guess. Give me a night game for Colorado. And I fully realize that that's only a couple weeks before Chuck's. I just want everybody to have fun for that one.
3 weeks. I mean, it should still be really nice weather on November the 9th.
I just want that to be full of hype and excitement and all of that. I hope we can keep the Dion talk to a minimum.
You're adorable.
But I think I'll take a night game for that one.
The two games I have circled for this. I want Iowa State to be a 2:30 kick, so you get the most amount of time when it's going to be warmer. Now, it's Iowa State, so there's no chance in Ames that it's going to be warm that day. But this way, you're not getting up early, and you get the sun for the majority part of your game.
Keep in mind, well, let's see, will that be daylight savings time still?
I don't care. It'll still be 2:30 with the sun.
I'm just telling you, in that part of the world, the sun's going to set around 5-ish.
Sure.
Okay.
I get that, but I'll still have all of the warmth of the day that we get up to it, and it won't be an 11 a.m. kickoff. The home game that I desperately want at 11 o'clock, because I think it is most advantageous for
11
the Red
o'clock.
Raiders, 11 o'clock, is Arizona State. They're coming east on a road game, which is already going to make it so it's like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock game from them. Are they 2 hours? They're 1 hour behind us. So it's a 10 o'clock kickoff for them while traveling this direction on the road. 11 a.m. games aren't great, but when your opponent has to do that, it makes it even worse for them.
All right, your thoughts, your comments. Somebody agrees with you on the Iowa State kick, 2 o'clock, and Arizona State, 7 o'clock kick. Great atmosphere to kick off Big 12 play. Let them feel the craziness of the Jones.
Yeah, I thought about that one as well, so I think that's a good answer.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We go straight to the Visual Edge IT hotline this morning, where we have Mark Fewin. Mark is a Texas Tech graduate. He's proudly serving on the Texas Tech Alumni Association board, and also is most importantly the representative for Texas Tech with regard to the South End Zone project. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Chuck. How are you?
We're great. So it's a night game. Does that help you in getting this thing ready? Because here's the number one question I think everybody wants to know is, will the South End Zone be ready for August the 31st, which is basically 3 months from today?
I believe it is, Chuck. I feel very confident on that. And actually, we are targeting really kind of a substantial completion of the South End Zone in and around August 2nd. So I feel good about that. If you look at the project, you obviously see, we're building this project not only from the outside, but also from the inside out. And so there's a lot of work that's being done inside the building that the Red Raider fans can't see from the outside driving by, or even on the various webcams that are out there. But a lot of progress is being made, and feel very, very good about being ready to go on August 31st for Abilene Christian.
All right, Mark, for someone who, like you just mentioned, there's a lot that we don't know as a fan base or whatever. For someone that does know and is kind of on the inside of seeing what's going on and knowing what's going to happen and what it's going to look like, what is one or two things that you really think the fan base is going to enjoy about this new South End Zone?
Well, I mean, when we started this project, we kind of set some what I called and we continue to stay focused in on as aspirational goals for this project, and now and that was 3 years ago, and I think we've really stayed true to those aspirational goals, and a couple that I'll mention is really to enhance the student-athlete experience, really kind of create the interaction of the fans with the Texas Tech Red Raider football team. So one of the aspects of that is a field club level, which is at the field level. There is a game day locker room at the field level, and the Red Raider football team will, when they prior to the game, will actually enter the field underneath the south goalpost at the center of the South End Zone through the field club level. So there would be a real energetic and interaction with fans that are at the field club level as they're passing through the football team, passing through the fans to enter the field, and then also exit the field at halftime and at the end of the game.
Yeah,
that's one. The second was really kind of just really kind of again we have the low seating and then the premium level, which are 17 suites on the third level of the South End Zone. What I don't think the fans are going to realize until they walk into the stadium is the close proximity of the South End Zone to the field, and it's going to really put the fans in the South End Zone really on top of the South End Zone itself. And I've stood out there, looked at various vantage points, and it's going to be very exciting. I've mentioned this last week. A goal line. The Red Raiders doing a goal line stand. Or going in for the winning touchdown in the South End Zone, people are going to be right on top of it, and it's going to be pretty amazing. The third point is that I'll mention out of the number ones is a number of items are a brand new north video board and ribbon boards have been installed, and also a new sound system for the stadium. So more of a surround sound, as you will recall. Most of the sound coming into the stadium over the years has been just blasted out from the north end zone. Now this, so we're enhancing the whole sound system for the stadium, and of course the last thing that I'll mention is the LED lighting, which was installed prior to the last football season. Synchronizing that with the sound and the video and everything is just really going to enhance the whole experience.
Visiting with Mark Fewin this morning. He's working extensively with everyone over at Texas Tech and overseeing the project from Texas Tech's perspective, making sure everything's done according to how they want it. So whose idea and when was it determined to replace the Double T scoreboard with an exact replica, albeit larger, of the Double T scoreboard? Because I think that was a brilliant decision. Well,
it's interesting, and it was very revealing to me, Chuck, was really the emotional tie to the Double T scoreboard. And there was various schemes where we were going to reconfigure it, we were going to change the size on it, and then the direction from Texas Tech Athletics, as well as the Board of Regents, as well as fans, feedback was we needed to replicate that Double T scoreboard. So that Double T scoreboard actually was installed, I recall, back my sophomore year in 1978. And so what we did was the new scoreboard that you see, Double T scoreboard you see there, is an exact replica with 2024 technology in it. And that was very important to fans, to alumni, to Texas Tech football that we have that. And I'm just, seeing that Double T scoreboard being installed was exciting for everybody, and I'm glad we were able to incorporate that into the design.
Mark, you talked about the surround sound part of things, not what's coming from the speakers, but with the south end zone closed in like it is, do you think the noise from the fans and all that will make it louder in there because it's all kind of closed in like that?
Jamie, much louder.
Okay.
The noise level is going to be incredible.
Awesome.
And because a lot of that noise was escaping out the south end zone or even the north end zone too. But, if you're standing on the 50-yard line looking back at the south end zone, the south end zone structure is something that is very impressive. And that's a big wow moment that I think Texas Tech fans are going to, when they walk into the stadium, and a lot of them, if you recall last season, everybody kind of saw the south end zone kind of coming together, but the scale of the south end zone has exponentially changed since the final football game of last season. So I think it's going to definitely change the dynamics for sure.
Mark, it seems like this project's on schedule and ready to deliver, and it's been amazing how quickly it's gone up. Have you, too, felt like, wow, this thing has just gone incredibly great, incredibly fast, and it's another engineering marvel for that stadium?
Well, and you know what? Every project, Chuck, has a lot of people are involved. Right now, we are, as of Tuesday, we've got close to 420 people working on this project right now on a daily basis. And they're working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. We actually, on Memorial Day, had 120 workers show up on Memorial Day to work on this project. So a lot of effort, and I will tell you, and from statewide, trade partners, design professionals, but I'll tell you 40% of the total cost of this project originates from and is associated with local businesses in Lubbock, Texas. So that's good. I think for no question that was one of our goals, was to in large part keep a lot of the money being spent and for the benefit of the local economy. So I'm really happy about that.
Mark, thanks for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing the finished product and look forward to seeing some W's on that WT scoreboard. Thanks very much for your time today.
All right. Thank you.
That's Mark Fewin here with us this morning on the Visual Edge IT Hotline. This is the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at Double T 97.3.com.